Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm back once again. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. So, welcome aboard. Today is Tuesday, April 2nd. This is episode 275 of The Daily Dope. So, today I am actually going to be unboxing and taking a first look at Wrestlenomicon, which is a Lovecraftian kind of battle game mashup. So we are going to take a look at this in just a few minutes. Kind of a hefty little box here, too. I was a little surprised. So I do want to point out this is a live show, so chat is available on YouTube. So if this is your first time popping in, this is a very, very casual show. It's very laid back. I just kind of talk about tabletop gaming, a little bit of pop culture every once in a while, but mainly games. And do some unboxings, do some reviews, things like that. So, it is open to the public to chime in. So, if you want to say hello, maybe you have a question, or possibly there's something about Wrestlenomicon that we're going to be looking at in just a bit that you want me to take maybe a little more in-depth look at, by all means, chime in. I will respond. Chat is not on screen, I do want to point out. It's one of the reasons, or I should say one of the ways, that I keep some of the stranger commenters at bay. But I do want to say that if you watch the video and you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you check out some of the videos on the Gaming Gang channel, there's over 520 of them, and you like them, then by all means, please subscribe, ring that bell. It will not only notify you when there's a new video that's gone up, but it'll also tell you when the stream goes live. Even though today I was about 3 minutes late because sync of the audio was off a little bit. Just a hair. I had to play around with the audio sync again. I haven't had to do that in a long, long time. But I do have to point out, yesterday, for some strange reason, the stream dropped. But thankfully, it only dropped for about 30 seconds. So, in the end, YouTube actually kept both parts as one video. So, that was cool. What wasn't cool is when that happened, it knocked my audio out of sync. So, my voice is out of sync just a little bit in last night's show. So, kind of stunk. That kind of stunk. But we did take a look at City of Gears from Gray Fox Games, so that looks pretty cool. All right, last thing I do want to say is I've been doing this for 9 years. This is my 9th year tackling tabletop gaming, mainly through thegaminggang.com. But we've had videos for, I don't know, about 6 years maybe. Not every day. Not like this. But one way to help grow the channel is tell a friend. If you like the Daily Dope, let a friend know. If you like some of the videos you've seen on the Gaming Gang channel, tell one of your pals. It really, really does help as far as spreading the good word. Okay, so I am not going to go into a whole lot of news today. There was some news that popped late that I thought looked pretty interesting, but I have learned my lesson that I don't try to squeeze last-minute news pieces that pop up in my email box because it always leads to screw-ups in the show. Things not set up right, not queued up right, missing videos. Never fails. When I try to do that last bit of news, it usually doesn't work out well. So, I'll have that on tomorrow's show. So that's no big deal. But, do want to point out, AEG, Allrack Entertainment Group, did actually launch their brand new Kickstarter for a premium edition of Valley of the Kings. And I've got the dope. When you die, you can take it with you. Take on the role of Egyptian nobles at the time of the pharaohs, preparing for death and burial in the Valley of the Kings. Ooh, doesn't that just kind of warm the cockles of your heart? Players want to fill their tombs with food, canop jars, statues, amulets, and other treasures, and to do so, they acquire cards that are laid out in the shape of a pyramid. Purchase cards at the base of the pyramid, and it crumbles to bring cards higher in the pyramid to the base where they can be bought. The pyramid resets each round with new offerings. You score only for cards that you remove from your deck and stash in your tomb. So if you keep using valuable cards for their effects but don't entomb them before the game ends, you could lose out on big points. Whoever collects the most valuable artifacts in his or her tomb wins. Alderac Entertainment Group is proud to bring you the Kickstarter for Valley of the Kings Premium Edition. This version of Valley of the Kings consolidates the 3 previously released games in the line, upgrades the components, and adds new content. Valley of the Kings is designed by Tom Cleaver. The first game in the series was released in 2014, Afterlife was released in 2015, and Last Rites was released in 2016. This product is a fast turnaround with our production facilities in China, and we intend to deliver these rewards 4 months from now, in August 2019. The retail release of Valley of the Kings Premium will be in October. Now, there is a 2-minute video that AEG has put together for this new premium edition of Valley of the Kings, so let's take a look.
Alderac Entertainment Group presents Valley of the Kings Premium, a deluxe version of Tom Cleaver's deck-building game of ancient Egypt. The first Valley of the Kings game introduced a unique deck-building experience with just 100 cards. The second game, Afterlife, added new treasures and rules for solo play. The third game, Last Rites, added citizens and roles to the final journey of the nobles of ancient Egypt. In Valley of the Kings, players are nobles in the time of the pharaohs who race to entomb the most valuable treasures they can to sustain them in the Egyptian afterlife. Each turn, they choose to use the wealth they've accumulated to acquire a new card, or entomb a card from their hand and use the cards they've drawn to alter their own and their opponent's game state. And then the pyramid crumbles and is rebuilt from the main deck. When the last card is removed from the pyramid, the game ends, and the player with the most valuable tomb wins. AEG is proud to present a deluxe version of Valley of the Kings, combining all 3 previously released games on new tarot-sized cards with updated graphic design, additional new content, 350 tarot-sized AEG premium sleeves, and a beautiful box to store the game. Introducing Pharaoh cards, which provide unique starting powers for each player. Also includes unique cards, especially powerful new game effects. Plus randomizer cards to quickly create interesting variations combining cards from every set. The game has received outstanding reviews. Tom Cleaver has been complimented for the design of the game and the rich exploration of ancient Egyptian culture it provides. Now you can explore the mysteries of Egypt and experience the fun and excitement of Valley of the Kings. Back the Kickstarter now.
All right, Valley of the Kings, as I mentioned, is on Kickstarter right now. Today was the first day for it. Valley of the Kings is for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 45 minutes or so. This premium edition is already over 400% funded in its first few hours, and you can reserve a copy for a $50 pledge through April 16th. And as previously mentioned, expected delivery is this August. So, gotta say, I really am a fan of Valley of the Kings. In fact, I still have the original game. I never got a chance to take a peek at the expansions from AEG, but I think that was there was a point in time I was in the midst of moving and things like that. But Valley of the Kings is a very unusual, very different sort of deck building game, and liked it a lot. In fact, okay, so I got to be honest. So the Kickstarter launches today, and I did a video review of Valley of the Kings back when it first came out. In fact, I was one of the first people, one of the only people who had actually reviewed it, right? So, of course, Tom Vassell, Dice Tower, all these, other people, eventually review it. So AEG puts their Kickstarter out today. They don't include my video review. And I was like, what the? So I actually went on Twitter because this was like the third Kickstarter in a row that a company that I had reviewed, whatever the base game was, or maybe they're doing a reprint or whatever, that we had done a review of at the Gaming Gang, and they weren't including it on their Kickstarter, and it's sort of like, seriously, really? We were like the only ones reviewing these games until about a year later, and then it's like, oh, other people kind of. So I actually tweeted and said, what is this with AEG? What's going on? AEG and the Gaming Gang, I mean, we've been tight for years, since the beginning, 9 years or so. And I said, you know what? Maybe it's time we got to cut ties with some of these companies that we've worked with for so long that just kind of take us for granted. I was like, but then Mara over there touched base with me, and she's like, oh my gosh, so sorry. And I was like, okay. But yeah, I was kind of getting a little ticked. It was like, we put together some pretty good reviews. And, we don't do 3-minute review videos. We do how to plays and everything else. It was like, okay. So, hey, Paul Nolan is popping in. Let me say that again. Paul Nolan, not no Nolan. I need a sip. Is chiming in. Good to see you, Paul. Yes, I was on vacation last week, so we'll see how long it takes our regulars who normally pop in chat to realize I'm back from the vacation. So we'll find out. We'll see. Now, last night, I want to say, was Lead Magnet. Somebody else was on the show chiming in too. We had actually a pretty good live audience, I guess I'll say. But I think it was only Lead and, gosh, I can't remember who it was, who was also chiming in. But yeah, so it was kind of fun. So Paul says, yeah, I've been waiting for your return myself. Well, thank you, Paul. Much appreciated. Sometimes I need a little, hey, I like what you're doing, Jeff. It's like, okay, thanks. Because, a lot of times it's just all you hear are like the little chirps of, oh, I don't like how you do that. Whoa. It's like, all right, whatever. Other news piece I wanted to mention, I don't have anything lined up to, share like images or anything like that. I did find out that John Wick, and we are not talking about the action hero played by Keanu Reeves. We're talking about the game designer, the RPG designer. John Wick has joined Chaosium. So that was interesting. That was kind of cool to see, because I know John Wick Presents. I like their core book for 7 Seas. I thought that was really, really nicely done. Although I was not familiar with the first edition of 7 Seas, and people were telling me that, hey, this new edition got really like cheerful and bright. It had originally been really dark and grim, but he was in some financial straits there. So he had actually let all of his employees go, and it looked like he was maybe going to go belly up. So it's good to hear that he's joining Chaosium, and Chaosium is indicating that they are going to take over the publication of. I believe there are some supplements for 7 Seas that were kickstarted that still need to be delivered, and I believe they're jumping in to handle that. Maybe they're not Kickstarters, but I know there are some supplements that have been promised, and Chaosium's going to take care of that, so that's pretty cool. All right, so before I jump into the unboxing and first look at Wrestlenomicon, always have to point out, if you like the Gaming Gang, if you enjoy the Daily Dope, then by all means, please consider making a small donation to Lil Bub's Big Fund and the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Yes, that's right, because Lil Bub's Big Fund does provide grant monies for organizations that care for special needs pets who are awaiting adoption. Now, these pets might be older, like me. They're a little long in the tooth. Or maybe they have mobility issues, or vision, or hearing disabilities. Maybe they require some medications every day. You just don't know. But these animals do deserve a good, loving home, and 100% of all funds that are raised by the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals through Lil Bub's Big Fund is actually granted out. So that is very, very important. I mention that all the time when I talk about Lil Bub's Big Fund, that you don't have to worry about, only 30% of the money they raised went to whatever. And I believe in the last 5 years or so, Lil Bub's Big Fund has raised over $500,000 for special needs pets. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so what's coming up on the show this week? So tomorrow's show, I'm going to do a little double dip from Tiny Battle Publishing. I am going to be reviewing Zombie War, which is designed by Greg Porter. This is a pretty interesting, kind of Ziploc bag game, war game. Yeah, I guess I'll say it's a war game. From Greg Porter and Tiny Battle Publishing. And then, because it's War Game Wednesday, I want to do some sort of a conflict simulation with that. But I am going to also include my review of Dark War Rebooted, which is Mark H. Walker's role-playing game that he created, which is available through Tiny Battle Games as well. As you can see, this is not the standard book that you would normally find from a Tiny Battle Publishing release. It is actually, what do they call it? I forget the terminology for it, where it's got like the little rings. Is it ring binding? Something along those lines. All right, so I'm sure folks are tuning in because I want to take a first look at Wrestlenomicon, which is from Arc Dream Publishing and Fire Opal Games. It's designed by Dennis Detweiler, Rob Heinsu, and Shane Ivey, with artwork provided by Kurt Komodo. The game is for 2 players, ages 12 and up, plays in about 20 to 40 minutes. This game is currently up for funding on Kickstarter. It's about 75% of the way to its funding goal. It is on Kickstarter through April 19th. You can reserve a copy of the game for a $20 pledge, and expected delivery is this August. And hey, No Enemies Here is chiming in. Howdy, Dan. Good to see you joining me tonight for a little bit. I know sometimes you can't hang out for the whole show, but let's swing on over to the other camera here. And this is Wrestlenomicon. So this is not a huge box, but it's not a little box. So kind of give you an idea. I was holding up Valley of the Kings, right? So that's kind of a comparison there. So a little bit bigger. One thing I will point out is this does have some heft to the box. So I'm taking a guess that these cards, quite a few of them, and it looks like we've got some tarot size cards. We'll mention. I have to point out, I am not overly familiar with Fire Opal Games. I believe, if memory serves me correctly, aren't they the design team I think they're the design team behind 13th Age? I don't know, maybe I'm losing my mind here. Hey, Kabuki Kid's chiming in. Hey, Kabuki Kid, good to see you. Good to have you joining me after my vacation last week. So we've got Fire Opal Games and Arc Dream Publishing. Of course, anyone who's familiar with role-playing games, especially Lovecraftian role-playing games already knows that Arc Dream Publishing are the masterminds behind Delta Green, which Delta Green has gone through some changes over the past few years. Some improvements, I understand. I had old Delta Green, which for some strange reason I don't think was the original Delta Green. I don't think that was through Arc Dream Publishing. I thought it was Chaosium. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm cracking up. But there's a lot of stuff that's out there for Delta Green now. I would love to take a peek at what's out there for it, because I remember it was a pretty cool kind of setting. If I also remember correctly, I think Arc Dream Publishing also weren't they the ones who were publishing the Unspeakable Oath? Pretty sure. I am. Oh, right there. Duh. It's on the back of the box. Well, as you can see, I'm looking at the camera as I'm talking. For some reason, I seem to recall, didn't Arc Dream also do? Did they also used to release? Now, maybe I'm way off base on this one too, but didn't they used to release kind of like adventure campaigns and things like that for Call of Cthulhu, or adventure supplements that had a few different adventures in them, but it wasn't Delta Green? For some reason, I remember I used to pick up from a third-party company some really awesome Call of Cthulhu supplements, and I could have swore that it was Arc Dream Publishing that used to release it. Mortal Coils was one of the releases. So, and I remember they were a little more mature audience. They were very, very good. All right, so let's see what we got here. Actually, unfortunately, you don't see it here, but I'm actually getting some glare off the back of this box, so I'm gonna have to kind of lean back so I can see. It says, it's the grudge match to end them all. Become a great old one and grab, smash, and obliterate your opponent. Designed by Rob Heinzu, Dungeons & Dragons, 3 Dragon Ante, Dennis Detweiler. There you go, there's Delta Green, Prototype, and Shane Ivey, Delta Green, The Unspeakable Oath. This furious card game of squicky battles, okay, I'm not sure what squicky means, is beer and pretzels fun with brains. Brains. And tentacles. So you can fight as Cthulhu or Haster. It says big cards for monstrous fun. Set up insane combos, one attack card at a time. Take an attack to ground zero to bring the slam. Nice. So Kabuki Kid says Cthulhu RPGs, as long as you aren't having the books printed in China. Yeah, that was interesting. We have seen, going off on a little tangent, as I usually do, we have seen in the past month 3 different role-playing game supplements destroyed by the Chinese government. Interesting. And one of them was a Cthulhu source book, which was about China. So I guess they didn't appreciate some of the representation that was taking place. Well, I think it was more about the history. There were some aspects of the history of China that were in this book that they did not appreciate getting shared. But, you know, it's weird because usually the Chinese government just doesn't really care about what gets printed up in China if it's not going to be sold in China. Yeah, there we go. Kabuki Kids just popping and saying the same thing, considering the books aren't even intended for the Chinese people. Yeah, that was something that was very, very different. Let's get this open here. Because normally the Chinese government does not care. They don't care what gets published by these companies. And as long as it's not something that's going to go into circulation with the Chinese people. But yeah, that was very, very bizarre. But I did hear that, thankfully, that another publisher has been found, and the original publisher did refund the game company, because it wasn't Chaosium doing it. It was some other company. I'm almost positive, that was doing this Cthulhu supplement. And let's get Gonna get this open here. So they were able to get their deposit back. They got their money back, so they're not out any cash as far as I understand. It's just basically they're out time and effort because now, of course, it's got to go off to another printer. But hey, at least it's not like a few years ago we had Catalyst Game Labs. They were doing this kind of like steampunkish World War One navalish flying battleship game. I can't remember what it was called. Hey Dan, thanks for popping in. I will have a good night. You enjoy your evening as well. I was gonna say that Catalyst Game Labs was I mean, it was a big deal. This game was gonna be a huge deal, and it was it looked pretty cool. I had seen some previews of it at Origins, and they had actually Catalyst had spent like all this money. This game was on the cover of that year's Origins program, and it was all this stuff about, and I can't remember the name of the game. And it ends up that this just shows you how poorly Catalyst Games Labs is run, and it's still run this poorly. They had all the 3D models for these ships, right? Were in China, and the company said, "Yeah, go blow." And they were like, Catalyst Game Labs did not have any digital copies of these files. It was like, what? So they were ready for production, and that was it. So there was a small run of this game, and Catalyst Game Labs was like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be our new battle tech. I mean, this is going to be big money." Yeah, well, it wasn't. And there had been all this hype and stuff like that, and I don't know. It looked interesting, but then again, I figured, it's Catalyst Game Labs. They're going to mess it up somehow. All right, so I do believe, and this is pretty big, I believe that, stuck together here, that the way the game plays is you're actually going to have like these laid out in a line, these different cards, because I think there's like, I think you actually have the cards where you're gonna plan your attacks in order. So, hey, Flaming Heron's popping in. Hey, thank you very much. Good to see you back there, Flaming Heron. So anyway, I think you line these up, and we'll take a look in the rules here. But there is kind of you have to plan your attacks out. So I see here we've got ground zero. We've got ranged. I think there's, maybe it's not like a rock paper scissors aspect, but I think there's different types of attacks. So like I think bizarre overtakes dominance, which dominance overtakes range, something like that. Not necessarily rock paper scissors, but something along those lines. So we've got there we go. Ground zero, first attack slams. Oh look, there's like a little mushroom cloud here. Okay, so let's take a look at some of this stuff. So we've got these various different cards. Like I said, I think we lay these down and kind of in order because you're going to be playing different cards. Okay, so what's this? We've got cult cards. So this is a 2-player game. So we got cult cards here. We got deck. Okay, so this is, I guess, where we're going to put our decks. Guts. Maybe that's our like kind of hit points. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so it looks like one is the Earth, kind of like the surface of the Earth. Maybe this is like the atmosphere of the Earth, and then this is space near Earth. Maybe this is supposed to be the Milky Way. Just keep moving further and further out. I don't know. Artwork looks good. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool artwork there. On these cards here. Sweet. All right, so we've got these. These are good size, too. So I got all these. Now, I do want to point out, because this is on Kickstarter right now, this is obviously going to be pre-production stuff that I'm taking a look at. But so far, outside of this, looks like this got stuck a little bit, so some of the print is off of that. But so far, everything looks pretty nice. And now remember, this is a $20 game on Kickstarter. So I do not know off the top of my head what some of the stretch goals might happen to be. I would take a wild guess that maybe it's maybe they're planning some other great old ones, because we have Cthulhu and we have Haster. And yes, I know there are people out there who say it's not pronounced Cthulhu, it's pronounced like Cthulhu, because H.P. Lovecraft was supposedly saying that human tongues should not really be able to pronounce Cthulhu. But I have always said Cthulhu, so that is just how I say it. A vast majority of people say that too. So I had an overview here. It says Wrestlenomicon. That name just cracks me up. I swear to God, I know I'm going to mess up and say WrestleMania at some point. I'm doing my best not to, but I get the feeling I'm accidentally going to say WrestleMania. Anyway, Wrestlenomicon is a battle between two giant elder gods whose moves are telegraphed across dimensions. Oh, there we go. You and your opponent take turns preparing your attacks by placing them onto the attack track, and eventually carry them out by moving them to ground zero. Attacks reduce your opponent's guts. Reduce your opponent's guts from 25 to 0 to win. Play either as Cthulhu, who can build up devastating combos across multiple turns, or Haster, whose affinity for cultists and rule-breaking permanent cards gives him an edge in trickery. So I've got the setup. Okay, so there we go. So this is, I guess this is across the dimensions down here. Okay, setting up your deck and your guts. So you're going to separate your cultist cards and set them aside. Okay, so it's showing there's certain cards that your first game, probably to kind of get the hang of things, you're going to remove some cards from your deck. Yeah, the starting hand is 7. The whoop-ass before time. That's pretty wild. So card basics. Most cards are attack cards. So we have 2 numbers, position and momentum. Attacks hype, an attack ability that occurs when the card reaches ground zero. And a slam ability that enhances the attack under certain conditions. Okay, so we got playing attacks, starting the game, taking turns, play an action card, attacking and slamming. It's poetry slam, man. Hey, cool deal. Vinyl Rabbit's popping in. Hey, Vinyl Rabbit, good to see you. Cool beans. All right. So, okay, so which slams which? Bizarre slams dominance. Dominance slams ranged. Ranged slams viscera. Viscera? Why did I say viscera? Viscera. And viscera slams bizarre. Okay, so an example of attacking and slamming. So at least we've got some different examples of play in here. Damage and victory. Victory levels. And then we got a glossary. And what we got all together, 15 pages, but really, I mean, come on. There's not that much in here. So this is a beer and pretzels game, which I had mentioned previously. Okay, so we've got the 2 decks of cards. Good sized decks here. I'm going to take a look through these. Is there anything under here? Yes. There's a die. A 6-sided die. There we go. A little 6-sider. Pop that back on in there. Okay, so let's take a look at Haster first. As I understand, this is going to be a little tongue-in-cheek. And because it is not actually really a kid's game, so I think we're going to run across, not look, like adult stuff, but things are more, you know. We already saw the whoop ass. What was it? Whoop ass before time or something like that. Crazies plus knives equals fun. Elbow of the Living God. Oh, look at that. Blank card. Just create your own card. I don't know. It's a possibility. Dinner theater. Exit stage left. Oh, jeez. It's not over till it's over. Casilda's thong. Jeez. Make the baby me go cry. Slam dancing Woolly Masters. The artwork is cool. Get the hell off my throne. Have you felt the yellow sign? That's where Hassler comes from. If you're not super familiar with the Cthulhu mythos, if it's the King in Yellow, which is actually not Lovecraft. That's Robert Chambers. But hey, Kabuki Kid says, hey, there you go. Vital Rabbit says, I'm a Pastafarian. So Cthulhu is close to my heart. Kabuki Kid says, got my GMT order of just a new box for Empire of the Sun because the new printing has a 3-inch deep box. That's pretty funny. Yes, you know, I have the new edition. GMT did send it along. I got to double check because I could have swore we've already got an unboxing video and things like that. And really, as far as I understand, there haven't been a lot of changes with the new edition of Empire of the Sun. In fact, I thought it was mainly just getting a bigger box. All right, so when Scepter meets Skull, the Cloud Wave break. Chaos is king, baby. Hail to the king, baby. Hey, that was too bad that they decided they were going to pretty much wrap up Ash versus Evil Dead. Yeah, I'm a Bruce Campbell fan from way back. Oh, yes. Space Empires. Excellent game. Very, very good game, Vinyl. You made a very good GMT purchase with that. Kian Blue Light Special. Okay, so you got a cultist card. So that stays separate from your hand. Butterfly flaps its wings in China. Jeez. And the Chinese government burns books. There you go. See? So a butterfly flaps its wings in China, and the Chinese government burns books. Role-playing game books, that is. It's me. Wow, there are a lot of cards. Music of the Fears. Now, this is the little indicator here. This is a little icon saying, hey, when you're first learning how to play this game, take these cards out of your deck. Yeah, biggest update they could make to Empire of the Sun was a bigger box. Yeah, they did change the AI bot a little bit. All right, so Music of the Fears, another cultist card. V is for Vivisection. Carnage and Carcosa. Good old Carcosa. I gotta say, every year I rewatch the first season of True Detective, and I love the weird, like, little King in Yellow stuff that's in there. Carcosa? You know about Carcosa? And they do mention the King in Yellow a couple of times. Good to be the king. Feasting from afar at buffet prices. Okay. Yes, upon you and you and you. Chewing the scenery. Z is for zombie. That's good enough for me. The Fist in Yellow. Death by 1,000 Artists. Yes, because the King in Yellow is supposed to be a play that if you read the play or if you see it performed, you I don't think you just simply lose your mind. I think you're actually transported, I guess not necessarily physically, but astrally. I think you're transported to, like, Carcosa. All right, so Halle Burial. Another one of those blank ones there, just sort of separator, I guess. Strange moons rise and you're in the way. I'm back. I'm always back. Eternal party time. There you go. Play a little celebration while you play that. Entropy is hard. Yes, and so is math. Crown to Ice Dock. Say my name. There's the get the hell off my throne. So we've got, we see that there are some duplicates, but for the most part, so far, we have not seen any duplicates outside of get the hell off my throne so far. And that's a lot of different cards. So, yeah, the butterfly burning books effect. That's right, Kabuki Kid. Got your nose and lips and fingers. Tatters of your ass. It's the wet rot. It's a dry heat. There we go. Chaos is king. Again, that one. That's a repeat. Another cultist. Couple of cultists. Okay, so we're getting into some duplicates. So much fog. Give me a hand. Now the other hand. No bones about it or in it. Jeez. Okay, another dupe. The vibe. I think this is new. We didn't see this one before. Fist in yellow. Sometimes bad things happen to bad entities. Yeah, that does take place. Barrel of Beasties. Z's for Zombies. Saw that one. Dead Man Stomping. King in yellow. One page to go. Squishy face. So now we're seeing some combos. We saw that elbow one. Saw that one. I disbelieve my own death. Aster owns you. Hades head slam. Welcome to the ball. Now give me yours. Masks for everybody. Wear pallid mask. Kick pallid ass. Jeez. Comes right off. See? There's a little bit of gross out to some of the artwork, but not too horrible. No, Jack. I'm king of the world. Jeez. It's the wet rot again. Saw that. Saw that. Die unheard. No. Okay, just die. No, cultist. Artsy, then fartsy. Too bored to die. Big in Alar. It's almost as good as being big in Japan. Hey, so we got a newbie in here. Ray. Howdy, Ray. Awesome. After watching a ton of these videos, I'm finally watching live. Well, welcome aboard. Nice to have you. And thanks for chiming in and chat here. Okay, so we got some more. I do so have tentacles. Okay, saw that. That's a third one. So, but still, a lot of these are. I'm very, very surprised how many of these are just single cards. How many of these are unique cards? I would have thought with a stack of cards like this, we might be seeing, 4 or 5 of the same thing, but there's what, 3 of these that we've seen? There's only a couple of well, not a couple. I think there's like 5 or 6 dupes we've seen. Carnage and Carcosa. Yeah, we saw that one though. Fist in Yellow, that's another one. That's a repeat. That's a repeat. Barrel of Beasties. I don't think we saw that one before. She saw Chewing the Scenery and Dead Man Stomping. There we go. So this is the Aster deck. And once again, as I mentioned, these are tarot-sized cards. These are good-sized cards. There's my hand. Now, I don't have a huge, massive hand, but it's kind of give you an idea. I do believe my hands are larger than the POTUS's, though. But, so Ray says, your show's great. Glad to be here. Oh, wait. Well, thank you very much. Definitely appreciate it. Always nice to have somebody say something nice. All right, so I'm going to take these 2 blank ones, put that on top. Now let's take a look at my homie Cthulhu. And crack this on open here. Let's see what we've got. I'll tell you what, you get a lot of cards for your $20. I'll tell you that much. I think the retail price on this is going to be $25, so you'll save $5 if you do get this through Kickstarter. And also want to point out that if you're just tuning in, that this is supposed to be the expected delivery on this. Now it's 75% funded, but I want to say I think it's still got 16 days, 15 or 16 days to go. So it's going to fund. It's going to be delivered in August. So that's a relatively good, fast turnaround. Because I know I've been seeing some Kickstarters that are popping up that I don't feel are like worthy of me sharing the news about. And they're sitting there and they're talking like January 2021. I was like, what? I'm sorry. I would not be sitting there. And they were like $75, $80 games. I was like, no, I don't think so. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look at Cthulhu. Although, strangely enough, it's, no, I guess maybe not. I thought on the box, yeah, here. Okay, let's look on the box here. It almost looks like on the box, right here, that Cthulhu has like spider eyes, like multiple eyes on each side of his head. So that is a different depiction than I'm used to actually seeing of Cthulhu. But then looking here, it looks like it's kind of two eyes. So we'll find out. We'll find out as we look through. So we've got Pocket Dimension of Whoop-Ass, Lava Bath, What Face, Dead Eternal, yada yada yada. I'll take Rhode Island to block. Jeez. My wings work, you know. That's another thing that it looks a little different here, that his wings look large. A lot of times, Cthulhu's depicted with like these weird, bizarre, like little wings. And I don't know. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I read Call of Cthulhu. I don't remember them basically saying that he has wings that are basically, you know, don't work or wouldn't allow him to fly. Wings ain't just for flying. I guess, speaking of wings still. Like a bowl full of ooze. Now see, now he's got like three eyes on each side. And he's like beating on a spider. Non-Euclidean Nelson. There's the Eternal Sleeper Hold. Tentacle Necktie. Seems like Cthulhu seems to have more like wrestling kind of cards here. Pop, got your head. Fistful of Nukes. Spew Time. Primal Smackdown. Okay, so these are the Cthulhu cultists. So their cards will look like that. Explosive Flatulence. I was hiding in the Grand Canyon. Let's take this outside. Now look. If we look here, that's one of Cthulhu's eyes, and it just looks like he's got the one eye there on the side of his head, so I don't know. Let's take this outside. Another cultist. Nth Dimensional Roundhouse. Deep One Hoedown. Got Your Arm. So it seems to me, if we noticed between the Haster deck and the Cthulhu deck, we don't actually see in the artwork them fighting each other. It seems like they're fighting all these other different creatures. So I think that's kind of interesting. Actually, to be honest, in my opinion, that gives a lot more variety to the artwork, at least, too. But as I mentioned earlier, I think it is possible that if this does well enough, that they'll probably come out with other decks for Great Old Ones. Summon Bind Anything. Faceful of Plasm. Butt of Wondrous Stench. Sometimes people blow up. Mountain Walks and Pummels. Cultist Pylon. Okay, saw the Lava Bath before. Okay, so here's the first of the blanks there. The Rocky Mountains broke by fall. Jeez. Yeah, I admit, these are kind of funny. How do you spell conflagration? Nothing like a good sacrifice in the morning. Fistful of cultists sleep with the deep ones. Real eyes shuffle. The moon is a harsh mattress. Okay. That's pretty good. Hands up, your nose. Right between the eye. Do the tidal wave. Represent. This. And he's wearing an elder sign. Well, right after that, eat elder sign. Now, cultists, explosive flatulence, saw that. Life is easy when stuff goes through you. Well, mostly squamous. Cultists. Evisceration stings. Yo. Fist through the chin. Blubber bump. Angular momentum is not your friend. Okay, face full of plasma, saw that. In and out murder. But a wondrous stench, saw that. The glomp stomp. Saw that one before. Cultist pylon, saw that. Saw this one. I come in pieces. Nice. Pi plus infinity equals uh-oh. So the fist. Did we see Fistful of Cultists before? No, I think it was the different cultist card. Okay, so the Macarena Rely remix. Ah, there we go. Here's the one we saw before. The whoop ass before time. Surgery between friends. Organ donation involuntary. Okay, so that kick to the ovipositors. Primal Smackdown. Monstruction. I'll tell you one thing I have noticed with this Cthulhu deck. It looks like there are fewer dupes. Fewer duplicates than we saw in the Haster deck. Not that there were a lot in the Haster deck, but we've only seen maybe 3 cards that were duplicates. Now watch, all the rest will all be duplicates, but Cultist, Jet Fighters to the face. Everybody poops. Protoplasm. Claw, bite. Cooking with Cthulhu. Cultist. Saw that one. Saw that one. Saw that one. Aha, nice. Sears Tower to the crotch. Although it's not called the Sears Tower anymore. Which kind of stinks. Well, Sears is pretty much done anyway, but I can't remember what it's called now. That's weird. I haven't been downtown Chicago in a while. I keep thinking of when it warms up, I'm going to go down there. Because I used to go downtown all the time. Face full of plasm, saw that one, saw that one, saw that one. And we saw angular momentum is not your friend. All right, so that is the Cthulhu deck. Pop these cultists on top. As well as these blanks. So we've got the Cthulhu deck right here. We've got the Haster deck. We've got the rules. We got a little 6-sided die under here. Then we got these cards that you're going to end up laying out on the table. So you're going to take the numbered cards plus the ground 0 card. And you're going to line these up. And that's where you're going to actually, each player is going to play cards like down, like here, underneath. And then it looks like they just kind of like keep shifting them along. So we got the 2 little guts cards for you to track your guts. Little areas for you to put your decks on. For your cultist cards. Your permanent cards. Your discard pile. And then a friendly reminder of what cards actually beat what. So, right, so like Bizarre beats Dominance, Dominance beats Range, and so on. And that is what we find when we take everything from Wrestlenomicon outside. There we go, Kabuki Kid. Thank you, Willis Tower. What you talking about, Willis? For some reason, I couldn't remember the Willis part. I know it was something. They still kept the tower part. Anyway, but that is what we find inside the box for Wrestlenomicon, which is from Fire Opal Games, as well as Arc Dream Publishing. It is on Kickstarter right now. Through April 19th, you can reserve a copy for $20. And expected delivery is actually in August, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to do my best. Well, come on, I've got time. I've got almost 2.5 weeks, so I am going to get a review of this out there as soon as possible, so we can see if this is worth checking out and pledging your support on Kickstarter. Honestly, it looks pretty fun. It looks pretty funny. It looks like it should be pretty entertaining. What you talking about, Jeff? Says Kabuki Kid. All right, so that is it for tonight's show. As I mentioned, on tomorrow's show, I'm going to do a little double dip of a couple of reviews. They're going to be fairly quick reviews. So I'm going to review Zombie War. Yep, Zombie War from Tiny Battle Publishing. This is designed by Greg Porter. So if you are a war game fan, then you already know Greg's work on, like, say, I don't know, Armageddon War, which just came out not too long ago. Greg's done a lot of stuff. What did I run across? I can't remember. I ran across something that Greg Porter had worked on, and I was like, holy cow, really? And it's like something from, I think, 15 years ago. Maybe it's like a role-playing game. I was like, holy cow, really? Greg Porter was involved in that? I assume it's the same Greg Porter. So, Zombie War, and then also going to review Dark War Rebooted, which is Mark H. Walker's role-playing game for kind of like the 1980s. Kind of fits into his series of novels. So I will be talking about that. You know, kind of funny thing is, I started off earlier during my usual little break because there was hardly any news tonight. And I said, hey, what's coming up on the show this week? I showed those two off. Then I started talking about something. Then I went into the Wrestlenomicon unboxing. I forgot to tell you, Thursday, because we know there's still more days of the week. I'm going to review John Carter of Mars. Yes, this is the special slipcover collector's edition. So I'm going to actually do my review of the 2 core books. So that will be on Thursday's show. Then on Friday, I will be reviewing Kanban, the driver's edition, the Great Designers Series game number 9 from Stronghold Games. So pretty cool. So a lot of reviews coming this week. So that is it for tonight's show. So I like to always point out that if you like the Gaming Gang, if you like watching the Daily Dope, by all means, please subscribe. Please subscribe, ring that bell. You will be notified when a new video pops up, as well as when the stream goes live. Plus, be sure to tell a friend. But when you aren't watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to go visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Come on, by now you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. I will be back tomorrow, so enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. Everybody in chat, thank you so much for popping in and keeping me company tonight. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.